Emma sat on the living room floor. A basket of warm laundry was beside her. The TV was on, but she was not watching it. Outside, rain tapped softly on the windows. The house felt quiet. Too quiet. She folded a gray hoodie slowly, then a towel, then one of Noah's old school shirts. She smiled a little when she saw it. Her son was 19 now. Tall. Funny, independent. He spent more time outside these days. Work friends, late-night drives. Emma understood. Still, the silence in the house felt heavier. Every week, 3 years earlier, her husband Daniel had left. Not because of a fight. Not because of another woman. He simply said he was unhappy. Then he packed his bags and walked away. Emma never fully recovered from it. She learned how to survive. She worked longer hours. She smiled. When people asked questions, she pretended she was fine. But deep down, she missed feeling important to someone. That night, she wore soft sweatpants and an old blue sweater. Her hair was tied up carelessly. She looked tired. The front door suddenly opened. "Noah?" she called out. "Yeah," his voice answered. A second later, he walked into the living room carrying 2 grocery bags. Emma looked confused. "You went shopping?" Noah grinned. "Maybe." He placed the bags on the kitchen counter. Emma stood up slowly. "You okay?" "Actually," Noah said, "I wanted to do something tonight." Emma crossed her arms. "That sounds dangerous." He laughed softly. "Trust me." She noticed something different about him. He looked nervous, not sad, not upset, just serious. Noah disappeared into the kitchen. Emma heard cabinets opening, pans moving, the refrigerator door closing. "What are you doing?" she asked loudly. "You'll see?" Emma shook her head with a small smile. For the first time in weeks, the house felt alive again. 20 minutes later, a warm smell filled the room. Garlic, butter, fresh bread. Emma walked toward the kitchen in surprise. Noah stood near the stove wearing one of her aprons. She laughed immediately. "Oh my God." "What?" he asked. "You look ridiculous." "Good," he said proudly. "That means I'm doing it right." Emma looked at the counter. Candles, pasta, salad. Her eyes widened. "Noah." "What? Why are you doing all this?" He looked down for a moment, then back at her. "Because I miss seeing you smile." Emma froze. The room suddenly felt very still. Noah continued stirring the pasta carefully. "You've been sad for a long time," he said quietly. "And I know you try to hide it." Emma looked away fast. "I'm okay," she whispered. "No," he said gently. "You're surviving. That's different." His words hit her hard. Emma felt tears trying to rise. She hated crying in front of people, even in front of her own son. She turned toward the sink, pretending to fix something. Noah noticed. But he did not push her. "That's why tonight is different," he said softly. "No phones, no work, no stress." Emma let out a shaky laugh. "So what is this? Therapy dinner?" "Maybe." She smiled despite herself. A few minutes later, they sat together at the small dining table. Rain continued outside. Soft jazz music played quietly from Noah's phone. Emma looked around the room. Candles flickered gently. The table looked beautiful. "You really did all this for me?" she asked. Noah nodded. "You deserve one good night." Emma looked down at her plate. Nobody had done something thoughtful for her in years, not since Daniel left. The silence between them felt warm instead of awkward. Then Noah suddenly reached into his pocket. "I almost forgot." He placed a tiny folded paper on the table. Emma frowned. "What's this?" "Open it." She unfolded it slowly. Inside was a handwritten note. Her eyes moved across the page. "Mom, I know life has not been easy lately, but you are still the strongest person I know, and I think you forgot something important. You still deserve happiness." Emma stopped reading. Her chest tightened painfully. "Noah." "There's more," he said quietly. She continued reading. "Dad leaving broke something in this house. But it didn't break you. You're still kind. Still beautiful. Still the person who makes everyone feel safe." Emma covered her mouth. Tears finally rolled down her cheeks. Noah looked nervous suddenly. Was that too much? She shook her head quickly. "No," she whispered. "No one said something like this to me in a very long time." Noah smiled softly. Emma stared at him. Sometimes she forgot how grown he had become. Not just taller, not just older. Kinder. More thoughtful. Like someone who quietly noticed everything. Then Noah leaned back in his chair. "There's actually one more surprise." Emma laughed through her tears. "There's more?" He nodded, her eyes narrowed playfully. "What did you do?" Noah stood up slowly. Then he walked to the hallway closet. A few seconds later, he returned holding something behind his back. Emma stared at him suspiciously. "Noah." He smiled. "Okay, don't get mad." That sentence never ends well. He laughed. Then he revealed what he was hiding. Emma's eyes widened instantly. It was an old framed photograph, a picture of Emma from 20 years ago. Young, bright smile. Standing near the ocean in a red summer dress. Emma looked shocked. "I haven't seen this in forever. I found it in the garage," Noah said. Emma carefully took the frame into her hands. Her fingers touched the glass softly. Back then, she looked fearless. Confident. Alive. She barely recognized that woman now. Noah sat back down. "You know what I think?" he asked. Emma looked up slowly. "I think she's still in there somewhere." Emma stared at him silently, and for the first time in years, she wanted to believe it too. Emma sat quietly at the table. The old photograph rested in her hands. Rain still tapped softly outside. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Emma smiled sadly. "I used to love that dress," she said softly. Noah leaned forward. "You should buy another one." Emma laughed lightly. "At my age?" Noah frowned immediately. "Mom." "What?" "You talk about yourself like life is already over." Emma looked down at the picture again. Maybe he was right. Somewhere along the years, she had stopped dreaming, stopped hoping, stopped seeing herself as a woman with a future. Now she was just someone trying to survive each week. Noah stood up and carried the empty plates into the kitchen. Emma watched him quietly. "You know," Noah said while washing dishes. "Dad leaving made me angry too." Emma looked surprised. He rarely talked about Daniel anymore. Noah kept his eyes on the sink. "For a long time, I blamed myself." Emma's face fell instantly. "Noah, I know it sounds stupid. It's not stupid." He dried his hands, slowly. "I kept thinking maybe if I was better, maybe he would have stayed." Emma stood up immediately. She walked closer to him. "No," she said firmly. "Never think that." Noah looked at her quietly. "He left because of his own choices. Not because of you." Her voice cracked a little. "And not because of me either." That sentence hung heavily in the air. Emma realized something painful. She had spent years carrying shame that did not belong to her. Noah stepped closer and hugged her gently. It was not a child's hug anymore. It was steady, protective, warm. Emma closed her eyes. Sometimes people think heartbreak only comes from romance, but losing a family slowly can break someone too. After a few seconds, Noah pulled away. "Okay," he said suddenly. "Enough sadness." Emma wiped her eyes carefully. "Oh? Yep. Phase 2 starts now." She blinked. "There's a phase 2? Noah grinned proudly. "Of course." Before Emma could ask anything else, he grabbed her car keys from the counter. Her eyes widened. "Noah, come on. It's raining." "Exactly. Perfect movie weather. Emma crossed her arms. You planned this whole night? Maybe. 20 minutes later, they sat inside a small local movie theater. Emma held a bucket of popcorn while Noah searched for seats. The theater was almost empty because of the storm outside. She smiled softly to herself. She could not remember the last time. She had done something spontaneous. Life had become routines, bills, work, laundry, silence. But tonight felt different. The movie started. Halfway through, Emma noticed Noah looking at her instead of the screen. What? She whispered. He smiled. You're laughing again. Emma realized he was right. For the first time in months, the heavy feeling inside her chest felt smaller. After the movie ended, they walked outside under one umbrella. Cold rain filled the streets with reflections of city lights. Everything looked soft and beautiful. As they reached the car, Noah suddenly stopped walking. Emma looked at him. What happened? Noah looked nervous again, the same nervous look from earlier. There's actually one more thing I wanted to tell you. Emma smiled carefully. Another surprise? Sort of. She waited quietly. Noah rubbed the back of his neck. I called someone last week. Emma frowned slightly. Who? Noah hesitated. Then he finally answered. A man named Michael. Emma froze instantly. The name hit her like lightning. Michael Carter. A man she had not seen in over 20 years. Her first love. Before Daniel. Before marriage. Before motherhood. Back when life still felt exciting and unpredictable. Emma stared at Noah in shock. How do you even know about Michael? Noah smiled a little. You talk in your sleep sometimes. Emma covered her face immediately. Oh my God. And, Noah added, I found old letters in the garage. Emma groaned softly. This is embarrassing. No, Noah said gently. It was beautiful. Emma looked away toward the rain. She remembered Michael clearly. Late night, walks, coffee shops, long phone calls. He once asked her to move to Chicago with him, but she had been afraid. Then life moved on. Years later, she married Daniel instead. What did you say to him? She asked quietly. Noah smiled carefully. I just told him someone still remembers him. Emma stared at him in disbelief. You did not. I did. Noah? He asked about you immediately. Emma's heart suddenly beat faster. That feeling surprised her most of all, after all these years. Why did hearing his name still matter? Noah opened the car door for her. He's in town for work this week, he said casually. Emma looked speechless. Then, Noah added the final surprise. He asked if you'd meet him tomorrow. Emma sat frozen inside the car. Rain hit the windows softly around them. Everything felt unreal. Noah, she whispered. You don't have to say yes, he said gently. But I think you deserve the chance. Emma stared ahead silently. A part of her felt terrified. Another part felt alive for the first time in years. The next evening came faster than expected. Emma stood in front of her bedroom mirror nervously. She wore a simple dark green dress. Light, makeup, soft curls in her hair, nothing dramatic. But when she looked at herself, she finally saw effort again, hope again. Noah leaned against the bedroom door, smiling proudly. There she is. Emma rolled her eyes playfully. Stop! I'm serious. She laughed softly. Then her expression turned nervous again. What if this is a mistake? Noah walked closer. Mom. She looked at him. You spent years taking care of everyone else, he smiled warmly. Maybe it's finally your turn. Emma's eyes filled with tears again, but this time, they were not sad tears. 1 hour later, Emma stepped into a quiet restaurant downtown. Soft piano music played in the background, candles flickered across the room, and near the window, A man slowly stood up from his chair. Michael. Older. Now. Gray at the edges of his hair. But still carrying the same warm eyes she remembered. For a second, neither of them spoke. Then Michael smiled gently. "You still look beautiful, Emma." Her breath caught softly, not because of romance alone, but because after years of feeling invisible, someone finally looked at her like she mattered again. Across town, Noah sat alone in the living room later that night, the laundry basket still, rested near the couch. The old photograph remained on the table. He looked at it and smiled quietly, because sometimes the greatest surprise is not flowers, or gifts, or fancy dinners. Sometimes the greatest gift is reminding someone that their life is not over yet,